want to align yourself as a partner and understand their story so that you can go, that shiny object that you saw at a conference last month that said it could do this. Here's the real impact on your story and where you want to go in the long term. These are the outcomes. Don't try to buy the specifications. Let's work on the outcomes first.
Yeah, Dusty, I think that's critically important. People, they want, you get sucked into the thing, the bells and whistles, but no one has asked you just that question. What
Yep.
are you really trying to achieve here? What's the
Yep.
Welcome to Sharpen the Spear podcast, where we help manufacturing executives command the front and win the floor. I'm Richard Walsh, creator of the Sharpened Impact methodology, and I spent decades helping leaders transform frontline teams, unlock hidden profit, and capture capacity they didn't even know they had. If you want to see where your leadership gaps are costing you and how to fix them, head over to grittolead.com and run the free Sharpened Impact Simulator today. Let's sharpen your edge and get started. And we are back on STS Sharpen the Spear podcast with another incredible guest. Dusty Gulleson is in the house. And Dusty, no one knows Dusty like Dusty. So, Dusty, we need the backstory. Bring us up to speed so we can get into a great conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me. It's great to be here. The backstory, I would start way back when. I'm actually a product of a family of missionaries, and I was born and raised in Southeast Asia and lived there for about 18 years of my life. And I would say that profoundly shaped where I am today, mainly because of the experiences that were very contrary to the States, how people grew up in the States compared to where I grew up, and then came to the States when I was 18. Took a year off because I was told third culture kids just don't know how to hack it in the States. But that year off, I got into working at Babbage's back in the day, the precursor of Best Buy, selling software, uh, way back in the day in New Jersey. And then I thought I'd follow my parents' footsteps and go to college and become a youth pastor or something like that. But after 2 years, that not working out, I was doing healthcare sales on the side as a 19-year-old and just relishing sales, enjoying it, meeting people, going across different parts of the country and really connecting. Um, Fast forward, took a year off from starting a couple businesses and went to Europe and bummed around in a backpack. Met my future wife there, came back to the States and realized I was getting married. I didn't know what I was going to do. Hadn't finished college, was very interested in just starting things and doing things. And a couple of friends that had me move to Washington, D.C. from Washington State. So we moved newly married, 3 months married, moved all the way across the country, started with a startup, and that lasted about 6 months. And I remember sitting there at the end of 6 months and going, I don't know what I'm going to do. And, people say, what was your business plan? Some of these folks I talked to, what was your vision? And I said, my vision was to make rent. My vision was to provide for this new family we just started. And I ran into someone at our local church that needed a website, a content management system for their association. And I was like, I think I can do that. And I did that. And then one thing after another happened. And, I could tell it was a consulting gig that blew up. And I hired my first employee from Indonesia. We H-1B'd one of my childhood friends for back in the day. Came over and he would code and I'd sleep on the floor, and then he'd wake me up when he finished coding and I would test and he'd sleep on the floor. And we'd go back and forth until we working 7 days a week, and until one day he just said, "Hey, do you think we could take Sunday off now?" And I said, "Yeah, maybe. Let's try it." And so we worked like dogs since 1999 all the way till now, and our business has been completely self financed, self developed. But I would say the heart of the business is good people that work hard, that care about each other, work in a collaborative environment. And we love seeing people thrive. That's one of my things I'd like to see for our clients is anything we can do to help them thrive and grow and just be better at what they're doing is wonderful for us. And there's a lot of challenges to get there, of course. But today our company's just a small little company. We do about 14 million a year and about 5 divisions serving everything from infrastructure. We have a managed service division called itondemand.com. That's our largest division. And then we have a digital division that's digital marketing, digital integrated software, websites. We have a couple SaaS products for online applications, for scholarships and grants, accessibility management for higher ed. And because I grew up offshore, we have an offshore team that does a lot of back office bookkeeping. Believe it or not, we stumbled into bookkeeping for a lot of fintech and CPA firms and other back office process optimization and automation. And then we have a couple other smaller business units, but all in all, it started from a question: can you do this? And I said, yeah. It's a positive intent and positive work ethic, and you get done. So that's a quick nutshell of who we are.
Love it. I love it. Yeah, it's that say yes and figure it out. That's a common theme in entrepreneurship is say yes and figure it out. Because we all
Well,
got to eat.
we all have to eat, but problem solving is a very creative process, and we're creative beings, and we all like to see how we can make something happen, whether it's someone building a house or someone solving a process that's broken. Everything in between is creative.
Yeah, it's very true. It's we talk about that a lot on this podcast, problem solving, right? And really the importance of training your people to become problem solvers, because a lot of people, from whatever, there's a million reasons why, but they're not. They haven't been trained, they haven't been taught, they haven't been encouraged in problem solving. So it becomes a wall that you just
Hmm.
sit down and wait for someone to help them. Like,
Yep.
help, I don't know what to do. When it's like, well, figure it out, but they don't. So I totally get it. When you build, do you do this in your company? I would imagine when you build a culture of problem solving, like you empower the people that work for you, like
Yep.
you show them this is how we do it. Like I always put in the structure, like you have to do this, this, and this, and then you can come talk to me or whatever the case, right?
Yeah, I would say I've never been great at it, but I do have some great team members that are really process driven. And in our C-suite, we have a great CEO and a great chief strategy officer who really push people to put things into processes and enable them, give them the tools to solve the problem. I think the other thing is really important to realize is that you by yourself, generally speaking, can't solve the problem alone. You have to be collaborative.
Right.
Problem solving is a team event. It's not an I event. So if usually when you have that one person that just wants to solve the problem by themselves, it's not gonna they miss you know value in getting other people's input. They also don't always hit the target correctly.
Yeah, and there's a time factor too.
Yes.
Add that when you're doing it by yourself, it's going to take you longer
Yeah.
normally, right? I love the collaborative process because I've always been very independent, doing my own thing.
Hmm.
I never really, in the first 20 years of business, I didn't take advice at
Hmm.
all. No,
Hmm.
no one could help me, even though they all could have helped me and should have. I should have let them. But as soon as you start collaborating with someone and you run it by, it's just like when we coach. I coach people, those outside eyes and that different opinion or that different
Hmm.
insight instantly sparks something in you.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
it's a rebound back and forth, and bam, it's solved. Because all of a
Yep.
sudden you've got twice the input, and it's probably, you ever hear you're like horses. I'm using like real horses. It can
Yeah.
pull 1,500 pounds. But if
Yep.
you put two horses, it doesn't just pull 3,000 pounds, it can pull like 6,000 pounds.
Yeah.
It's because,
Plus compounding.
exactly. So it's like, it's that mentality. And that's what it is with people too. I really think
Yep.
that problem solving, that creative aspect,
Hmm.
you can really, like, I'm a big fan of whiteboards.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay. Like you put this
Right behind
on,
me.
Yeah, the bigger the better, right?
Yes.
6 by 12, nice. Okay, like I want to do some stuff, right? So I just think they're awesome, and embracing that culture
Uh,
in a business. Like, well, let's whiteboard this. I always call this workshop this. My clients say, okay, let's workshop this, and we start
yeah.
going back and forth. Pros, cons, this,
Yeah.
what if this, what if that, then what, and so yeah, it's if you do it right, it becomes kind of a fun process. You start to look forward to the next problem.
It's funny you talk about whiteboards. Anecdotally, when we moved into one of our offices up here in Bellingham, uh, I found a whiteboard paint. So we painted all the walls as whiteboards so people could just, wherever they were in the
Right.
office, just start collaborating. You have to have, I think that, for a collaborative environment, you have to have the right ingredients, be it the tools like a whiteboard, which is really handy to have. And, even just having a dry erase marker ready at any point. Hey, yeah, an idea, let me just map this out for you. And really encouraging that kind of conversational, it used to be called water cooler, right? The water cooler
Yeah.
talk.
Well, or gossip.
Yeah, gossip. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because
They were
I
they
do
weren't
think
solving anything though, Dusty. That wasn't solving anything.
well, it's funny because I was I have to go speak in next week to oil and gas digital transformation conference, and one of the things that we're talking about is story. And for collaboration to work really well, I used to have a saying in our company that people said if we would make a T-shirt for you about what you would say, it'd be speak to me in bullet points. Because I thought I got so much going on, I don't have time to hear the
Mhm.
narrative. But the funny thing is, it's the narrative that is the most valuable part of the
Mhm.
problem solving. Understanding people's expectations, their outcomes, and you can't get that in a bullet point. Yeah, you can
Right.
sometimes like solve this problem, but no, how you feel, how you want to go on beyond it. Tell me the story. And so we talk about a lot, when you're collaborating, talk about the story of what you want to see happen. Talk about the big, monster in the room, how you want to try to get to the other side. Whatever the problem that you have, the story is much more important than the specification and bullet points.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I think outcomes, especially, I'm a big fan of outcomes.
Yeah,
And I don't mean that we got one. I mean, what are they truly?
yeah,
What's the true outcome? It's not I put A into B and got C.
yeah.
That's not the outcome. That's just completion. Okay, I'm sorry.
Correct.
Outcomes are a very so break that down for us. I'd love to hear your kind of definition of what when you're talking outcome. What does that truly mean to you, your company, and what you teach your people?
Yeah, good example. I was just thinking about that. One of our MSP people the other day were talking about they're having a systemic problem in the organization with something just so minor and menial. It was a printer for a CEO. It kept on just messing up, and he's like, I kept on fixing the problem. And I was hearing this during one of the tech talks that we have internally, and just
Mhm.
listening to the conversation, not participating. I try to sit as a fly on the wall there. And I did this and then this and then fixed, and CEO keeps calling back because eventually I get the emails, right?
Right.
And I've never met the person before. I don't know client, but eventually it comes to me, and I said, have you asked them why is the printer so important? Why was at that time? He's like, well, they had a proposal to go out that had this thing. I said, oh, so it's not the printer working. The proposal wasn't quite the way you fixed the problem. You turned the printer on and it connected. And I'm using this as a very simple example.
Right.
The real issue, the outcome was a successful sale. And I said, we work in customer service first, and we happen to be tech second. The proper way to approach that problem would be, or a way I'd encourage, I don't tell them it's proper, but what I would encourage you to do is go, what are you trying to accomplish, Bob, or Mr. Smith or Mrs. Smith, whoever the CEO was? And they're like, well, I have this. Oh, so this is really important that this happens. What about the printing is wrong? Oh, it's this and this. And so take a small example, I try to make something small so to communicate that the issue is the outcome of a successful sale for that
That's it.
means a lot to that person. Getting the printer right doesn't solve the problem. You have to have that empathy and compassion to work through that and get to the real reason. Because what it really came out to is it wasn't printing exactly as they expected. And
Right.
he kept us. So that's a good example. In bigger projects, like we do big digital transformations, like CRM integrations and big websites. We do 6, 7 figure websites for large clients. And some of the issues that people are like, well, I just want to convert more, or I just want to do this more. And really, at the end of the day, is where do you want to be as part of the company? You want to align yourself as a partner and understand their story so that you can go, that shiny object that you saw at a conference last month that said it could do this. Here's the real impact on your story, on where you want to go in the long term. These are the outcomes. Don't try to buy the specifications. Let's work on the outcomes first.
Yeah, Dusty, I think that's critically important. People, they want, you get sucked into the thing, the bells and whistles, but no one
Mhm.
has asked you just that question. What are
Yep.
you really trying to achieve here? What's the,
Yep.
what, how do you want the customer to feel? What does it do for them personally? Right.
Yep.
Like, and that thing with the presentation is a big deal. I'm working on something like that right now. And I'm like, it's just, I can't, I want to accept it, not all the way, because I
Hmm.
want to move on
Hmm.
because I'm getting really frustrated. But I'm like, I can't
Yep.
because that's kicking the can.
Yep.
If I kick the
Absolutely.
can in 2 months, I'm going to be really upset,
Yep.
especially if someone calls me out on that little thing that I didn't just push through a little harder to make happen and make it perfect. So I'm
Yep.
totally with you because it's a representation. Like theirs is a presentation. Mine say it's a representation of who I am.
Yep.
I'm not selling a small ticket item. I'm not
Yep.
selling a pack of gum.
Yep.
Okay. It's like this needs to be perfect because, as perfect can be, but I'm bringing a high value service to
Yep.
a company and what you represent. That's it. That's
Yep.
what they're buying, you know?
Well, people definitely, the old adage, my dad got into healthcare sales after he retired from the mission field. And he used to always say that specs tell, but benefits sell.
Yep.
And aligning whatever you're trying to provide someone. So not to hoodwink them and sell them, but to
Right.
make sure that, hey, what you're really looking for is this benefit. Yes, you like the car, but you really need a car that will take you to work and not cause you a lot of problems and is dependable. That's what
Right.
you're looking for.
Right. I want to start it. I want to get from A to B and get back home. Go
Exactly.
from B to
Pretty
A.
simple.
And that'd be great. For right now, if I'm looking to impress the neighborhood, that's a different conversation. On my way to B from A, that's a different conversation. But if I just want
Exactly.
to get to work and not be late or not have a breakdown, that's a different thing.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point you made there, Richard, is people like the car that makes them look good, but really that's really not what they need. And you have to help walk people through go, you want a car that makes you look good. I know that, but really you have a 9 to 5 job that's a half an hour away or 45 minutes away, and you need a car that will get you there and back. That's an hour and a half of your life a day that turns out to be, almost 8 hours of just being in that vehicle. What you want as a car is going to make you comfortable, right? Yeah. Yeah, actually, that's more because getting into that Lambo is really hard as you have to crunch
Right.
yourself into it. And you want to take the kids on the weekends with the trailer. Lambo can't pull that. Maybe an economical truck. Yeah, you just help people see what they really want. And I think a lot of people see the shiny object and they need to really see where they want to be in X year or X time period. And I think that
Yeah.
works a lot better.
I had a friend like that, and I'm like, it was Ray. He's since died, but I was like, Ray, why do you have two Ferraris? You can only drive one. Well, I get kind of caught up in it. The money wasn't the issue, obviously, but he's just like, I just get caught. I go, and here's the news flash. He couldn't drive either one of them. I'm like, dude, you
Uh,
can't work paddle shifters. You're like, I mean, you take a ride with him, you never want to ride in a Ferrari again. Okay. And not because it's just like, dude, you need some lessons. Okay. So,
uh,
some people got more money than sense, right, Dusty? So you might have been,
yeah,
you still could have a really cool car, but hey, it is what it is. And, but you see it all the time. It's very true. And it's needs benefit. Like
yeah,
you're saying, it's really that combination. Features, I say it all the time too. It's great. I compare a furnace. I'm an HVAC guy. I'm a
yeah,
customer. I'm like, I really don't care how many BTUs it blow. I don't care.
yeah,
When it's 40 below here in Wisconsin in the winter, Can
Yep.
I not have to be in 3 sweaters and 4 pairs of socks with a blanket
Yeah.
around my kids? Can I sit here and
Yep.
play a board game in a t-shirt and shorts and be super comfortable and happy with a smile on my face? That's what I'm paying for.
Yep.
Just
Yep.
get it.
Absolutely.
Make
That's it.
that happen. I don't even want to look at a furnace. It's in the basement for a reason. Let's just see it. So just make that sucker keep the house warm. That just do that and I'll love you forever.
Yeah, I think that's number one thing in life, in all relationships, is understanding what a person needs and helping them understand what they need too. I think that's why, coaches out there are so plentiful and needed. Is some folks don't know how to, like, they have this pain, or, a therapist would say they have a pain and they don't know why they have the pain. And they need someone to lead them to, here's the source of it, actually. This is what you're really looking for.
Yeah.
And
There's a lady, she's a happiness coach. Okay, I'm laughing because I guess there's someone for everyone. Okay.
yes.
Let me call my happiness coach. Coach, I'm feeling a little down right now. Like, wow, that's, man, there's a market for everything. That's all I can say. God
I,
bless them.
I do think a lot of us get stuck in ruts,
Oh,
be
for
it
sure.
through some trauma in life or something. And I think folks like that, I mean, I know a person that I read a book on how to have fun because they didn't know how to have fun. And
Wait,
they
wait, wait,
actually,
wait, wait, Dusty. Is that a problem?
for me,
For me, you said they don't know how to have fun.
no, I
I'm
think you have
not,
plenty of fun.
I'm not fun. I'm not fun. I tell my kids, they're like, Dad, you don't have any games on your phone. I go, because Daddy don't play games. That's why. I go, I'm not known for being fun, though I can be fun, I guess, but
uh,
it's not one of my endearing qualities, Dusty. That's all I'm saying.
you definitely smile a lot. Smiling is definitely a result of someone that's enjoying themselves.
It's because of my happiness coach.
Send me her name or his name, and I'll pass it around.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're making a
No,
lot
I
of bank
just
on that.
no, yeah, I'm a happy person. I mean, fun doesn't mean happy or unhappy for me. I mean, I have a great life. I'm
Do
just a
do
happy
you
person.
do you find? I mean, I think I don't know, not the stereotype, but most entrepreneurs or people that start their own companies tend to be on the higher side of the optimism spectrum. I have not
Yeah.
met a lot of dour business
Yeah, but
owners.
too much to my wife's like, will you ever be negative? Well, why is everything going to work out? I go,
Yeah,
because it does, because I make it work out. And yes, and maybe it's the definition of what works out and what doesn't. I don't know, but like I can't think negative. I get risk. I had a discussion last night with a client just talking about risk, and
yeah,
it's one of the fears. I'm like, well, let's walk through it. And I go, do you see how tiny the risk is? It's
yeah,
almost non-existent because you've got everything in place.
yeah,
All the doors have been opened. Everything is here for you. Like, dude, I wouldn't even be thinking about it. This is the
yeah,
lowest risk thing. You got a whole lot of upside and very little downside.
yeah,
And he finally saw it
yeah.
because that
It's
thing like a risk and that negative that is fear.
yeah,
Right? It does hold you back, but you need those people. Like you said, the sounding board, the collaboration.
yep,
That's where you can
absolutely.
work through that and go, oh yeah, see. And he's like, I think I want to do it. I'm pretty good. I
Yeah,
go take one more day and
yeah,
then shoot me a text.
yeah,
Maybe just
absolutely.
so
Yeah, that's why we have our whole C-suite go through like disc assessments. We have a corporate,
mhm.
I would call her corporate therapist, Tracy Bear of Navigate the Journey. She's fantastic. She sits with our C-suite and helps to get aligned. We do all the tests, and you do need the people that are they call them wonderers that wonder. Like, so I'll say, hey, we should just go do this, and that person will be like, I wonder if that's a good idea,
Yeah. Well,
and it's so helpful.
yeah, to your point, and when you're talking C-suite, okay, so we'll stick right there for right now.
Yeah,
That is a team that you need to know because I get personality tests. I mean, I've taken them for decades,
yeah,
right? They always turn out the same, so I'm pretty solid. Okay, I'm always the same. Okay, so well, good for me, I think, or maybe I don't improve. I don't know, but when you look at that and you have a team that operators, or I'll call them
yeah,
operators right at the top,
yeah,
you have to know because
yeah,
you can't hire four more of you.
Nope.
That is a
You don't want to.
disaster. Yeah, it's a disaster. Like
Yeah.
the last thing you want, I mean, the last thing I want is yes men or women. I like you got to challenge it. You got to throw it out there. You got to say what if. Okay, I
Yep.
do the exact same thing for my clients. I'm that person.
Mm.
And if you're not able to challenge, we all have assumptions, but we're all in what we do. We don't
Yep.
see clearly. We can't.
Yep.
Right? It's like, and I don't. Everyone, people think they can. Dustin, you can't, because as
Yep.
soon as you bring in the outside eyes, they uncover stuff in minutes. I can come in a place and like that's broken. That's broken. Why do they work here? Okay,
Yeah.
I'm like I can do that in minutes, and they're like, well, oh, I never thought of that. Right,
Yep.
but you're here every day, 40,
Yep.
50, 60 hours a week, and you can't see it. So a lot of value in the stuff you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, I think the enabler for collaboration though is what you're just saying, being able to be humble enough to be like, I don't know everything.
Yep.
I can't see everything, and no one can. And there's no shame in that. There's a lot of people want to be the savant that knows everything. And I always tell our team, I'd rather hire someone that's teachable and a hard worker than someone that's just super genius any
Yeah,
day.
I have a lot of clients. I have a number of them in manufacturing. Like, I want a blank canvas. You don't need to know how to work a CNC machine. And I
Yep.
hope you don't know how, because
Hmm.
I'm going to teach you how we do it.
Yep.
Okay. Then you're not going
Yep.
to come in with these bad habits and my way and this how we did it over there. They don't want to hear any of that.
Yep.
Okay. There's a finicky machine as it is. You got to work on. We'll train you. You'll be all good. And I love that.
Yep.
Which
100%.
also gives great opportunity for those wanting to get in the industry. So, but yeah, that don't be the smartest guy in the room thing. We have all heard
Yeah.
that probably once or twice. And if you are, go to a different room. I'm that. Okay.
Yep.
Like sometimes I'll go to a conference something kind of reluctantly,
Hmm.
but never regret going, even if it's the
Yep.
one thing.
Yep.
People often
Yep.
hear the one nugget, one thing, but I've had that where it's gone and completely changed everything for me. One thing.
Yep.
A lot of
100%.
the other stuff was trash. Okay. But I got the one thing because I could hold on long enough and hear it.
Yeah. And that's the humility part, right? The humility is like, I'm gonna use my ears and not my mouth. And that's a hard thing to do especially as a young entrepreneur, I mean, I would just barrel through things. And, I have so many regret. You look back and go, oh, I just wish I had. And just really the maturing happens when you move from being someone that's trying to make everything happen to being someone that's trying to coach the rest of the team to make things happen. That's where the transition, it's taken me 20, 25 years to get there, but that's definitely where you become a true leader is becoming a true coach, a true enabler to help people grow.
Yeah, and it's interesting lately. I have a new book out and I use the same term, the coach term. Yes, I've been a coach forever, doing all this stuff, but it's it hasn't been applied properly in leadership.
Hmm.
Okay, it's leader, it's this. It's like, no, you actually, if I'm a shift lead on the floor,
Hmm.
okay, I need to coach my people.
Hmm.
I mean, you can call it direction, but it really is coaching. If they're
Yeah.
doing something wrong, I'm going to coach them to do it right. When someone runs the wrong play on a
Yep.
football field or soccer, whatever, like you coach them not to do that.
Yep.
Okay. The coach is the one telling you so I think it's a really good pivot. And I've only heard this lately in
Mm.
the last year or two.
Mm.
Okay. I've been doing this for a long time as well. Right. But I like it because
Yeah.
there's a mindset shift there.
There's a, can't remember the gentleman's name. He teaches over in Eastern Washington, but he's a big proponent of servant leadership. I don't know if you've heard
Right.
that term
Oh, yeah.
before,
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Big time. Yeah.
but all through my life, my dad was a big proponent of that. But the
Yeah.
the notion that the C-suite really is really the support staff
Mhm.
of the operators. And if you invert the pyramid, that's the proper way to do it. The
Right.
C-suite should be holding up the rest of the pyramid. Just because you have that C-suite title doesn't mean you're at the top. I think you're actually at the bottom. You're enabling, you're holding, you're coaching, you're giving the tools, you're listening, whatever you have to do. And I find our most successful C-suite folks are the ones that really help the others in their team shine.
Yeah. I do a frontline leadership that's our thing, right? So we go to these companies and it's frontline leadership mastery. So
Hmm.
we're command the front, win the floor. And that's right.
Oh,
So
that's a
we're
good point.
going down there. We go down there. It's like this right now. I show the C-suite how it works and how they are a
Hmm.
part of it, but it's the same thing, right?
Hmm.
How do we close those leadership gaps? As we close the leadership gaps, part of that is coaching, teaching them to coach their people. Leaders
Hmm.
build more leaders. That whole philosophy, how to do conflict resolution, the whole package, right?
Hmm.
And I attach ROI to all that. Like you got to
Hmm.
understand, like if you can train this, you can close these gaps. Those wide gaps are all profit leakage.
Hmm.
When you close them, you start to recover pure
Hmm.
profit. You're not
Hmm.
adding more people or anything else. You're fixing those things. And when you do that, like you see this cohesiveness on the team,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
People are working, they're communicating properly, they're getting things done, they understand the metrics, they're held
Hmm.
accountable, right? All this stuff.
Hmm.
And it doesn't take long to do that. But then
Hmm.
you just watch the ROI. It was amazing. It's in the
Hmm.
multiple millions over a 12-month, 3-year, 5-year period.
Hmm.
Just by addressing that, like you said, C-suite's cool. I like them, love them. Okay. Well, they write the checks. Okay.
Hmm.
It's good. But if you can fix the front line, because here's the reality that you already know, as entrepreneurs, we're probably the biggest problem in the business.
Hmm.
Okay. We're the stumbling block. We're the roadblocks. We're not I'm
Hmm.
my hands up too. Okay.
Yep.
But what you can't do, I can't come in and tell you that. Well,
It,
Dusty, you're
yeah.
the problem. But if I go to the front line and I fix that and start showing the ROI, this stuff, I'm coming for you. Okay, I'm
Yep.
just gonna go fix this, work my way back up, like you said. So if the pyramid's inverted,
Yep.
right, I'm taking care of those guys, and then I'm going to get down to there to the guys supporting because that's a huge thing, right? So I
Hmm.
try to work in your analogy there.
No, I appreciate it. And that whole collaborative thing is collaborative across all departments, all levels. And so, a couple months back, or maybe it was last year, I can't remember anymore. I remember there's a problem with one of our clients in Washington State, and no one was available. It was a Sunday, it was an emergency. And I said, well, that's my job. I'm available. And, I think it was Lowe's or Home Depot used to have on their aprons, I work in all aisles. And
Yeah,
I always, that sticks with me. And I tell everybody, we work in all aisles. I don't care if I know anything. I said, I'll put on a headset. I'll be your eyes and hands. You just tell me what to do. And I spent like 48 hours down at that client being just a level one tech. But I really love doing things like that because I get to appreciate the stuff they're going through. You get to see where the roadblocks are, and you're like, oh, here we can do this. And it does increase ROI. You're 100% right.
yeah,
When when people see the leadership there, but they also see someone that's understanding the problems and then going, okay, how can we make this better so this doesn't happen next time? And
yeah,
so working in the front lines with the operators, 100% agree with you.
yeah. I do that a lot. From a leadership standpoint, you got to be seen.
Yep.
You have to be seen.
Yep.
You can't be in the ivory tower. You can't have the office door closed all the time. You may be working your tail off
Yep.
on spreadsheets and everything else, but it's not benefiting anyone out there. You have to be seen. I was talking with a gentleman the other day, and he said, "Yeah, I had one of the he has a guy. I made him come work on the couch in like the area where everyone could see him. Like you come on
Yep.
here and spend 2 hours there working. So he's on his computer, where
Yep.
they actually see him work now. So
Yep.
they don't think some guy out golfing all day.
Yep.
They don't even know he's there, but they get seen. And it's a really good point. And I do
Yep.
with guys like if you're a ops manager on the floor, like I know you got things to do on the computer,
Yep.
whatever, but you gotta have 40% at least on the floor.
Yep.
It's gotta make they gotta see you, man. Go help,
Well,
ask questions, walk around, do that stuff because there's a trust, there's a belief factor, a trust factor, right? A competency factor that
yep.
all ties into that from a leadership, and they have to look up to somebody,
Yep.
you
Yeah, I
know.
think it was, I remember that story. I think it was Jack Welch when he took over GE. He moved his office down into the lobby. He just put his desk right in the main lobby where everybody came into work, and he sat there and didn't
Yeah,
work all day. So everyone
yeah,
saw him every single day working.
you know.
Set the
I,
tone.
Yeah, I had a client like that, super successful, right? Multi-billionaire. Man, he was there at 7 a.m. He's got
Yep.
a driver who picks him up. I'd see him in the morning, be at his house, and he's like, well, just waiting for the driver to get in. He knows who's coming and going, and they
Yep.
know who he is.
Yep.
I mean, he has multiple companies, owns multiple sports teams, professional sports teams, but he's there. He's a
Yep. Yep.
self-made guy who understands the power of that.
Yep.
You know, and it's
Absolutely.
and it makes a difference. I mean, if you think it doesn't, well, you're probably that
Yep.
guy locked in the office.
Hey, we're relational beings. Relational beings tend to really respect people that are being relational, and being present is the biggest part of being relational.
Do you, let me ask you that because I'm in total alignment with that. Have you noticed again? It seems that that is so lost now. We're
Hmm.
so separated between, technology, phones, scrolling, all that stuff. But the relational aspect, I think, I want to believe is coming back in vogue. Okay, because it seems we had a big separation from that. Are you seeing any of that?
No, I'm not. I mean, I talk to my kids, we go to church, and one of the things my kids are like, I don't want to go to church. And I'm like, we don't go to church because we want to make God like us. We go to church because community. We need to be seen in a community and be part of a community and participate in a community. And this happens to be church as a community we've picked as something beyond ourselves. I mean, it used to be the village, right? Everyone would hang out in the village.
Right.
Um, and right now there's less and less opportunities. I mean, I think you got sports, but that's really balkanized, and you've got,
Yeah,
the military, but that's its own weird, niche. Not weird, I would just say it's just a niche that most people don't participate or
that's
understand.
right. Yep.
And then and then you have community events, and whether it's your church or it's your local whatever. I fear for this country quite a bit that we're not part of communities that are with people that are disagreeing with us. And one of the things I like where we go to our church, there's various views from all across the political
Yeah,
spectrum.
we got that
And
too.
we are becoming so tribal in how we're relating to one another. And I think that's what's killing the relational, because people are a generation, I feel, our multiple generations have been growing up in an environment where they feel they should only hang out with their people.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we have in the tenor and tone today in our country, which is it's something to grieve about and to be concerned about. And I fear for that.
Yeah, I agree with you. What I've been trying to do, just like you said, mine is we got to retrain people to be relational.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've got a very diverse church I go to as well, and it's people are there, and there's people with different ideas, different this backgrounds, political views, and all that stuff. But we're there for a common reason.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And that's what you need. You need that interaction and all that kind of stuff. Maybe it's not all super deep. Well, man, we can
Yep.
be in the same room.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Worship
Yeah.
the same God. We
Yep.
can do all that stuff, and it's awesome. And like that's where it has to begin. When someone needs help, we can help them, right? Because we're
Yeah.
there. We have the community.
The worry I have with a lot of the communities that are developing in this tribal, it's a they're being attracted to it's us versus them kind of
Oh
community
yeah,
instead
yeah.
of a we community. And I think that is dangerous. You talk about retraining someone. There's so much distraction nowadays with technology that someone who starts to feel the angst and the need for community can distract themselves with, like you said, your kids gaming for
Mm-hmm.
hours. I mean, there is a nice side note to that, because some kids have that's their only community, right? Is their gaming
Right.
community. But that being said, I'm just thinking that there's a there's what is that saying? Hard times make hard people, and soft times make soft people.
Right.
And I think we've had such a soft period of time in the last 30 years. I know, COVID notwithstanding and some other things, but generally speaking, this is the best time to ever be alive in the world. And I think people
Yeah.
are just not seeing that, and they're just angst-ridden because they're not in community.
Yeah. It's viewing everyone else's highlight reel.
Yeah,
I mean that's
exactly.
that's what it is. So they're bummed out because they're not that, and then they don't know that's all just phony posed.
Yeah.
But so what I've done when I work with companies, when I work with people, is creating that culture in the community of the
Yeah.
business. Okay, so take it from the business like you're doing. There has to be the communication, the process, the systems, and how we operate. has to create that. Right. It's easy to say, I'm going to make systems and this, you'll do this and stay in this lane
Yep.
and not go in this lane. Like that's good until the lane gets too restricted.
Yep.
And then people
100%.
bail. Like, well,
Yep.
this is just prison.
Yep.
I'm not allowed to do anything except this. Like where's my opportunity to like learn and grow or maybe solve a problem or help someone else solve a problem or come up with a new thing? Am I allowed to
Yep.
come up with a new, more efficient way to do this? Because I got ideas, so
Yep.
uh,
Well,
you
that's
know,
that whole decentralized leadership thing. You know,
exactly.
paint the vision, paint the story, and people will write themselves into it.
Yeah, and when you achieve that, and again, I've done a lot of businesses, and you watch the change. I tell people, I go, I'll tell you what. One of that, we'll talk about outcomes. One of the outcomes you're going to have is going to be a wait list of people that want to work at your company.
Yep.
Tell me who's got that.
Yep.
Okay, certain companies there is. It used to be you got to die, someone has to die or retire there, man, to go work there. That's
Yeah.
quite a
Absolutely.
compliment. That's a
It's huge.
compliment. It's like, and there's companies like that. I had one down in South Carolina. I mean, people were there for 30 years.
Yeah.
Everybody,
That's
like no
amazing.
one left. It's just like, I'm like, I got to get that guy on my podcast. That's like
Yeah.
magic,
Absolutely.
but these guys create these cultures of that. And it's like, you want to know what's the secret sauce.
Yep.
You know what
Yep.
it is? It's relationship.
A hundred
It's
percent.
communication, man. It's purpose. It's recognition, quality feedback, and it's quality pay.
100%.
Those things, they matter in that order.
Yep. Yeah, I would say more than that. I mean, our average employee is, I think, 12, 13 years, which for me in the tech
Wow,
industry is huge.
that's
And
massive.
we have one employee that's been here 25 years.
I was
So
I was
it's great.
down in Kentucky at the Dollar General warehouse, the original one. I was doing some
Mhm.
consulting for them, and I walk around with the site manager, and he goes, "See that guy on the forklift?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "50 years." Been
Wow.
here 50 years, and I go, "Man, imagine the stuff he's run into."
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
I'm just
exactly.
being funny. Like, man, that guy's broke a lot of stuff with them forks. But like, there's a dude, they're 50 years.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a
And
man
that's
who's
that.
he's living a content life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There's,
Like,
and that's the American dream, I think, is to work somewhere where you feel respected and you can
yeah,
provide for your family and not always have to hustle for another dollar.
yeah,
So that's great. I mean, he's a corporate time capsule. They should
yeah,
have him write some history.
yeah. It's amazing. If you look at that, and he's an anomaly these days.
Yeah, a
You
hundred
know, it,
percent.
it really is. But if you've got 13, 14 years, dude, you're killing it.
Especially in the tech industry, it's
Yeah.
it's it's tough to keep people. And at the end of the day, the tech industry is really abusive, I think, to a lot of folks, especially in the infrastructure services side. They make them work long hours, don't care about them, don't respect them, and it's
And
it's it's very easy to help them find a good home here.
And I'm making a total blind guess here. I know some coders. I got a
Yeah,
good personal friend, so like that. They're also not like normal. Okay. They're a little quirky. Okay. They
they're
have a
different.
different, they are very different. I love them to death. Okay. I've been recently doing a lot of coding or pretend coding, and I'm doing this stuff that I've never done before. And I'm like, I have a whole new respect
Yes,
for what these
absolutely.
people do. Like, holy, I mean, I'm talking, I've been doing 15 hours a day for months trying to figure this
Really?
out. I'm like, yeah, I'm like, these guys, like, oh my gosh. I'm like, you write this stuff? Like, like I'm starting to see patterns and realize some stuff, but I'm like, and again, that in itself, because I was working with a gentleman out of Raleigh, North Carolina, he's a software architect, right? So
Yeah.
builds this stuff, but now he's combining the business aspect with the tech because there seems to be this kind of invisible wall
Hmm.
pretending they don't speak. So he's created this really cool system and a program where he combines the two so they're all actually communicating, all
Hmm.
the way up into the C-suite because he notices as he builds this architecture, he does these data warehouses and builds all this stuff.
Hmm.
He's like, it's just it's held up so much that its ability to actually perform is broke down because they
Hmm.
don't really know what the business wants. The business
Yep.
side doesn't know what the tech wants or can do. It doesn't know its limitations. So
Yep.
nothing really works well.
Yeah, that's problematic. That's pretty interesting. I'd love to see what he's come up with. That'd be
It's
interesting to look at.
Yeah, it's really, really fascinating, because he was talking about, and it was really cool when we did talk about workshopping. So, Amazon's got their thing, right? They got all their
Yep.
servers, they do all the Microsoft and whatever. They come in and we got the new best thing, and they spend $2 million and you buy this thing, and it works a little bit, but it's basically just a whitewash. You do
Yep.
the same thing in your research. So I said, well, why don't you do this? So we did this let's do a side by side.
Yep.
So like, here's your thing. You come in, so you start slower out of the gate.
Yep.
Amazon, ooh, here they go. But then all of a sudden they cap out really fast. And
Yep.
here on this side, you're just going, 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 going. You're just growing above the other. And you're like, this is it, because we did this, this, and this. We built the foundation. So we had something
Yep.
strong to grow on, right? Where they're just coming in for the next thing, and they
Yep.
get it because they have a name. So it's really interesting. I was really encouraged because he was just launching this business, and I was working with him as a startup. And I'm like, if you tell the story, like you were saying, that you tell
Yep.
the story right,
Hmm.
the people are going to, because they know they've all been
Yep.
through it now. They've all dumped those millions,
Yep.
and it's basically a flush,
Yep.
like
The
a
story's
toilet flush.
way. I find the story is way better than just a spreadsheet explaining cost differentials.
Yep.
Yeah, that's great, but it reminds me of how Google was what the 17th or 18th search engine, and where are they today?
Right.
Because they plodded along, they focused on their secret sauce,
Yeah.
and Alta Vista and MapQuest and all those are gone.
Yep.
So it's
Yeah,
it's a
they
really good point.
really, and I don't know I'm not, you'll know 100 times what I do, but I thought one of their big things was they just completely focused on the customer experience.
Yep,
It's
100%.
all
They made it
about
simple.
serve them, serve them, serve them. How to make it easier, make it let them find everything they want to find and do that kind of stuff. And it's a good business philosophy overall.
Yeah,
Just
faster,
saying.
better.
Yeah, it's just,
Faster and better to get the
yeah,
customer what they want. And
right.
like I said, that goes back to what I stress to every one of our team all the way down is we are a customer service company first and foremost.
Yeah,
We just happen to do it in tech or in our SaaS product here. People remember the relationship. The problem, it's fixed, it's gone. It's no longer there, but they remember how you made them feel solving the problem.
right.
That's what people remember.
That's right. That's right, man. It's so true, man. That is, if more people understood that,
It's hard, we all have our conflicts and our issues and stuff like that, but having that mindset helps quite a bit.
Yeah, it's the problem solving, to kind of go back to the beginning here, just the problem solving mindset. Okay. And you just mentioned I think a key component of a real problem solving mindset is the experience of problem solving,
Yep. That's a
right?
really
Like,
good point. Yep.
like, wrap that together. They need to be packaged together,
Yeah,
because
$100%.
yeah, we solved the problem. Okay. And it might have been ugly. Okay.
Yep.
That's the problem. Right. So how do we wrap the package? How do you
Yep.
deliver a solution that's memorable?
Yeah. Even when you can't solve, I mean, I remember a guy telling me a story about, I can't remember what it was, but somebody he couldn't get on a certain trip or something, but the person that they were working with kept on trying to solve the problem. I'm gonna go try this, and then let them know. Constant communication, letting them know what's going on, and then at the end said, I tried all these things, couldn't solve that problem. And I want you to know it was so important to me to solve that problem for you. But what does that person remember?
That's right.
They remember that they were valued. And at the end of the day, people want to be valued. They want to be seen. They want to
Right.
be understood. And the problem might be the initial, to use your analogy, the tip of the spear here.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, the bulk of the issue is the person that's wielding that spear that they're trying to use. They want them to be known, they want to be seen, and yeah, you may not solve a problem, and you might have to go somewhere else, but they're coming back.
Right.
100% guaranteed they're
Right.
coming back.
Yeah, that's a great point, Dusty. It's just a matter of it from the business side. It's a matter of structuring that. How do you
Yeah,
build that into your process?
yeah.
You know, it
It's 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 an experientially learned skill. I fear. I feel like I can tell it till I'm blue in the face. Not until someone exercises that over and over. It's a muscle that it doesn't become part of who they are. In this fast-paced world where the metrics are how many tickets did you close, how many hours did you work, how many problems did you solve. There's no metric for how many relationships. I mean, you have the NPS scores, but they're not the same thing as someone who's going to sit down and go, I had a great experience.
Yeah.
How do you get that data? And that's really the most important data. I think we go for the lowest hanging fruit for data and we count it as good, and it's not. It's
Yeah.
really not.
Yeah. It's, I remember you talk about, it's very interesting on specifics. You know what I mean? People's replies, and they're open ended or they're not, or it's just you try to collect this data. It's like,
Hmm.
how do you ask the question to get an answer
Yep.
of that may be very subjective?
Yep.
So you're asking for subjective answers. That's the challenge, right? So people can't build a metric for a subjective answer.
Yep.
That's why they don't like it.
Well, that's why people hate marketing. There's no
Right.
attribution. They
Right.
just they loathe it, but really the best marketers. And I was talking to one of our C-suite the other day. I was like, some of the best, most successful things that ever have happened to us through sales or whatever was never because we had the best widget.
Right.
Yeah, we had an adequate widget, but what they really loved is that we actually heard them and cared about them and were willing to do X, Y, Z, and they went to bat with us. And I always say if you want to move yourself from being a vendor to a partner, whatever you can do, and the best way to bridge that gap is making sure the person is valued in that relationship.
Yep.
Because when you're a vendor, you're a commodity. No one wants, you don't win there unless you're selling
That's right.
widgets by the billions.
Right.
But the only way you can really win is to move into that partner sphere.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. I'm in the middle of doing all that, right? You look like I'm not a trainer. I'm your strategic growth partner, right?
Yep.
We're doing this together. It's not that training. Everyone's a trainer.
Yep.
Everyone's going to
100%.
come in for the next program. That's not what you're paying me for.
Yep.
I'm not here to
Yep.
do that. I have a way bigger purpose here.
Yep.
Now, if it was just that, man, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be
100%.
here because I'm doing other things. So I think a lot of times, Dusty, people that don't in their own business,
Yep.
they don't set their vision properly.
Hmm.
I don't think they've really gone out, whether it's 2 years or 5 years or whatever it is, but like, what's the actual vision? What is everybody in this company working towards achieving?
Hmm.
Again, it's not A into B and then B into C, and you got your little cell and your little cell. I mean,
Hmm.
together, everyone in it is a hero and they're part of the journey, right?
Yep.
Because it doesn't work without, when it takes someone out, it doesn't work, right?
Yep.
But they don't understand that in a lot of
Yep.
companies. They don't understand why they matter. Okay. So all of a sudden you get like, if you can paint that picture, and I do it with story, it ends up being 12, 15 pages. It's a strategic
Yep.
vision. Here's what we're
Yep.
doing. And people like, there's purpose,
Hmm.
right? There's quality feedback, recognition, and there's
Yep.
quality pay. And they see it all. And they read the story and they see the vision where we're going to go. And that's something people can get behind.
Hmm.
Right. So now
100%.
everyone comes to work for the same reason
Yep.
and not just to get a paycheck.
Yep.
you know
Absolutely.
so and it's a hard sell for some companies to get them to do it. It just depends on, are they ready to receive that?
What's funny, there's a guy here, he doesn't own the company anymore, Bob Pritchett, who owned Faith Life, which is the largest Bible software company, really, really successful here in Bellingham. And he would pay people, he'd pay them to fire themselves. He's like, I will pay you a month's salary if you want to leave. But it was really a great question to ask because it made the person go, do I want to be here? Why do I want to be here?
That's pretty genius.
And so he said rarely people took it, but the people that were there wanted to work there.
Right.
And it really, he put his money where his mouth is, said, I want you to be part of this vision, this story. And if you don't want to, great, I'm going to help you transition. And he said, I'd help you find another job too.
Yeah.
But I want you to decide. It was a really
And,
interesting way to
well,
do it.
that's someone who understands what he delivers.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
100%.
That's someone who is intricately invested in his people, his
Mhm.
process, and his product. Right.
Yeah.
What's up?
And
That's
that's why he
really
was so successful. I mean, he sold his company
exactly.
for
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah. So and when I do this with companies and you see the transformation when you roll that out,
Yeah,
I mean, there's people like emotional
yeah,
because most people are not working for a purpose.
yeah.
They're working for a paycheck. That's a
Yeah,
miserable existence.
it is a miserable existence. All right, the paycheck is ancillary to security or to family, but I don't disagree with you at all. People need to be purpose driven to be thriving in life for
Yeah.
sure.
And
On that purpose, it's interesting. Even, if I look at 25 years, my initial purpose was survival, right?
right, right.
And then what's the next? Well, we're going to do this. I think you have to re-look at your purpose almost every year. Just check, is this what we're really doing
Hmm.
still? Is this right? And I think a lot of times there's a lot of calcified purposes out there that no longer are relevant. Or people are doing them and they're going through the motions. And you really need to take that time to, you know, go out to the woods for, a few days, think it
Hmm.
through. Where
Yep.
where do you want to go? What do you want to be responsible for? I think that's another question a lot of leaders don't ask is, what do I want to be accountable to? And I think a lot of times people are like, oh, I'm accountable to the P&L, payrolls made on time. No, these people's lives, they have children, they have
Yep.
vacations, they have school bills to pay. There's more than that. I always
Yeah.
tell my kids, I'm responsible for 80 mortgages, you
That's
know?
right. That's right. I just told my kids the same thing, man. I feed families.
Yep.
Like this has to go. This has
Yeah.
to make it, man. I got people who depend on me. I was talking to that gentleman
100%.
last night. Yeah, you're. I said the good news. I said you're acting like it's fear. You got a whole team that are going to go with you. I said no. You say you got a whole team that wants to go with you.
Yeah.
I said there's no risk in that, dude. That's motivation.
Yeah.
I said, you're a leader they want to follow. They'll leave where
Yep.
you're at, go here and start there with you because they have that much confidence in you. So your
Yep.
fear is very unfounded. You're
Yep.
looking at things wrong when you get that, and it's big. And go back to the quality pay thing. I always tell people it's just third. It's not that it's not relevant. I said
No.
I do say quality pay. I don't just say
Yep.
pay because the reality on the pay side, I tell people if pay was number one, they'd sell you out for 50 cents an hour and go down the road.
Yep.
It's just not. It's third for a reason. But that
Yep.
purpose and what we do like an 18 to 24 month strategic vision. We don't go out further than that. It's what we're going to be doing, not what we're doing. And then we rewrite it. I
Yes.
have clients who have rewrote it. Hey, we achieved it. Okay, what's next? Like you said. We're,
That's very wise. Yep.
and they hit this vision every month too, Dusty. You're reviewing it with everybody. You sit down, we talk, okay, where are you at? Where are we at? How much closer are we? We're tracking this stuff. Are we going to
Yep.
get there? Right. And when everyone knows that, that's high accountability. A mission statement goes on the wall and is wallpaper in a week, and it truly only serves the owner's ego.
Yeah, it's funny. I was just talking to our CMO. We're doing a major rebrand. We have a new name we're coming out with in November. Um, and one of the things we were talking about, the internal email to the staff, why we're doing it, what's going on. And I had written, our culture will remain the same, our mission and values. And my CMO did a great question. She's like, what are our mission and values? Where is that posted? And I'm like, you're right. It's not posted anywhere, but we talk about it all the time. So I rewrote it and like, we'll still be the collaborative, humble, customer centric, you know, you know, high integrity firm that we've always been. That's all it has to be. It doesn't have to be
Right.
on the wall. It doesn't
That's
have to
right.
be on page. And then I asked him, I said, should we put that on the about page of the new site? He's like, no one cares. And I was
Yeah.
like, you're absolutely
It's
right.
internal. It's
It's
internal.
internal.
That's our strategic vision is when I do it, I go, this isn't for marketing.
Yeah,
This is how
100%.
we operate here. This is for us. This is so if we're going to hire someone, they have to read this first.
Yeah,
And my first question when they call, I'm like, well, did you read a strategic vision? Oh no, I didn't get to it. All right, well, you have a great day, and hang up the phone because they can't follow directions. So
yeah.
it could be, or if they do, yeah, I read. I go, where do you see yourself fitting?
It's funny.
Like, it's awesome.
Yeah. You talk about frontline operators and relationships being valuable. One of our clients, large heating and air conditioning HVAC company, they always have their interviews scheduled at their office and they have to go to the receptionist first. And so at the end of every interview, they call the receptionist and said, what's your score? Because they had the receptionist look for how they talk to her, how they handled themselves while waiting, if they were polite, all these things. And if the receptionist says, I don't like that guy, they do not hire him.
Right.
Because that is the baseline expectation is, do you see another person as a human being and treat them with respect? If you
Yep.
don't, everything else, it doesn't matter what you can do.
That's right.
But I thought about that quite a bit. And I thought, man, that is dead on,
Yeah, that's
dead
pretty
on.
smart. That's pretty
How
smart
you
because
how you
yeah,
treat a low level person in your perception, a stranger, man, that says a lot about who you are.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I've seen it. I was on a podcast a couple of days ago talking about something very similar. Had an owner consulting with me. That guy comes in the morning, says nothing to nobody, walks by everybody in his office, shuts his door, and I'll be in there for an hour or two. And you're like, you can't. And I'm like, I'm out of here. I'm not
Yeah,
like I'm not working with this guy. I'm not cheap. You're gonna walk by like you don't. No one exists.
yeah,
Not a good morning. I said,
yeah,
and I gave more than one day of doing that. I go, if someone has a bad day, I go, this is a routine. Yeah, I'm out. I said,
yeah.
I'm not. I don't care how much you want to pay me. I'm not working with you. You know.
But at that level, it shouldn't. It doesn't matter. You can have a bad day. Don't come into work.
Yep. Yeah. I mean,
Take a
hello.
sick day.
If
Take a
your
sick day.
day's so bad you can't speak, why are you here?
Or even be real. Just say, hey, I'm sorry. I'm not having the best day, but I want you to know I appreciate you, and then go.
Yes. Yes.
But yeah, I'd rather someone stay home and then show up. It's a cancer. It's really a
It
cancer.
is. And it's like anything else, Dusty, it starts at the top. If you're the top guy and that's how you are, the whole company's rotten.
Yeah,
Okay. I mean, they're rotting. Okay. They're just like, because that's the leadership.
yeah,
Okay. So
100%.
no one there is going to be happy.
100%.
So
You
like,
you hit the nail on the head.
yeah,
It's funny,
I'm,
we did this big project for, just not, I'm not going to make any way it's identifiable, but a
right.
big group. And it was a big digital transformation, and they were great. The board was involved. We went through a year-long exercise. We used the story framework of where you're going, coming from, and we use that for big projects because we think it's much more successful to approach it from a story framework. And we had multiple projects. We had a roadmap laid out, 3-year roadmap, budget, everything. And they pulled the trigger to start it. And the next thing you know, we just hit roadblock after roadblock with the operators, just one thing after another. And it was just like, what is going on? To the point that it was abusive on some of the stuff. And I had to fly in because I wasn't doing the projects. And I flew in and sat down with this one person and their boss. And the C-suite and the CEO was aware of this was happening. And I said, okay, this is the problem I'm trying to solve. There's something wrong here because this operator is just, we had already been working on a year on a project. They had spent 6 figures on some seven, oh yeah, almost 7 figures on some stuff. And I said, hey, we want this to be successful. Digital transformations are hard as it is. And it's a very cultural issue. But during that meeting, that person was so abusive and their boss said nothing.
Yeah. There it is.
And I was like, and then I had a breakfast with the CEO and I said, I don't understand. How could that continue? It's like, well, it was just, there was no straight answer. It was like, yeah, it's wrong. I'm like, okay, great. We both agree that that's wrong. What are we going to do about it?
Yep.
And you know what? There was no accountability at the top. So therefore, there was no accountability in the operators. And that whole project just kind of unraveled by itself.
Yeah. And sometimes those are what I call hostage situations.
Hmm.
You got a guy who's got a certain skill set that you really need.
Yep.
He's a jackleg. Okay. But like you can't rock the boat. So he
Uh,
gets entitled. He's a little, whatever he is, little tyrant. Okay, he's able to do that kind of stuff and stomp his feet and be abusive because you're afraid if you lose him, that doesn't sound like it was like that there. It sounds like weak leadership.
well, it was a person that they thought they couldn't lose to that was
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And it's easy for me to point this out on someone else, but I was on the receiving end of that. We bought a number of companies as we've grown, and I bought a company in the Midwest, and everything was great. The day after we bought it, the key manager that we had on there just became a roadblock on everything. It didn't matter what is, we changed the payroll frequency. They said it's going to destroy the company. I mean, it was just one thing after another.
Right.
There are some things we could have done a little bit better. I'm not saying we were perfect, but this was our fifth acquisition. We pretty much knew what we were doing at this point. And I was told by the former owner that if you get rid of them, you're going to lose all this business. It's a couple $1 million for a small company like this. That's a lot of business, especially after you just forked over and I mortgaged my house
Right.
to
Right.
buy. There's a lot of things riding on it, people's jobs. And I was held hostage in that situation for 13 months.
Ooh.
And I wasn't sleeping well. Richard, I tell you, whatever situation, I was up at 3 in the morning or 4 in the morning, sleeping 4 or 5 hours a night, not just getting any rest. And finally, my CMO says, you put up with this long enough. We got to stop it. We got to get rid of this person. He said, I'm hopping on a plane. I'll see you there. And so we came in and fired the person, and then promoted someone. I went back to my hotel that night and slept 9 hours. It was a bad person because you have fear deciding your decisions instead of your moral compass and what the values you are important to you. It's hard. It was a risk. And I just like you said you talk to your client, I had to look at the risk and go, what's the worst thing that could happen? I could
That's right.
lose this acquisition, but I save the whole. We can come back out of this.
Right.
But you know what? That acquisition is thriving today.
Right.
Because we got rid of the people that were just absolute disasters. And the people that we also knew were disasters that were operators under this person shortly left thereafter. And we're like,
Right.
wow, this is fantastic.
It's again, it's the beauty of outside eyes.
Yeah.
You come in, I do a lot of companies. You come in, it doesn't take me but minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. See, you're like, okay, I'm making some mental notes. I'm making some real notes.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm going to do my survey. I'm going to go through this stuff, my diagnostic, but I'm choosing.
Yep.
And then I'm going to
100%.
ask, and I'm say, what is the situation here? And then, to what extent and when does it happen? I did it with one place. Out of 50 people, I fired 25 in the first 3 weeks. End up taking them to number one. Okay.
Wow.
Or half the people, half the equipment. Okay. The number one in the entire nation for production. Right. And then, the half that were left were making double and 3 times the money. They went from making $500 to $700 a week to making $2,500 to $3,000 a week. Okay, because they got rid of the slackers, they got rid of the poison, and like get rid of them. Getting people are like, man, this guy. I go, look, I observe. I come and observe. I see him. You're no good. This guy, I go, that's your money. You can do that. And he darn right he can. All right then, she's out. You're in. Okay, and boom, and all of a sudden they're everyone's humming. These guys, who gets a pay raise like that? Okay, I mean, for doing the same thing they do every day. So it was really,
and
again,
you're happier.
But it takes the person with the courage and the leadership, ability to see it and then act.
Like I think you're a happiness coach. You brought all that happiness to people.
I didn't want to tell you. I was just trying to, it's a side. I do that on Fiverr. I'm a happiness coach on Fiverr. Okay, it's my side gig.
A whole new podcast.
Yeah, they're cutting back to. I'm going to have to go over to Upwork. I'm going to go over to Upwork.
Sharpen the smiles. Your next.
That's right. Gig. Sharpen the smile. I like it, dude. Can I trademark that?
Yeah, it's all yours. You can have it, man.
It's still STS. It's still STS. It works.
Yeah,
I don't have to change a thing. That's amazing.
Exactly. Just put a smile on that guy behind you.
Where grit meets growth, where grit meets smiles. It's perfect.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, I'm in, man. Now that's the note to end a great podcast on.
There you go.
But of humor, a little bit of business advice I just got. It's amazing, So I'm gonna write that down on my airboard. Okay, that's up there. Okay, we're good to go. So Dusty, tell people how do they get in touch? Follow, the deal.
Sure. Feel free to email me at dusty@gulleson.com, my first name, followed by my last name. If you need to talk to me, happy to chat with you. My work email is dusty@eresources.com. And I'm sure you're going to have my contact information on this podcast
Mhm.
somewhere.
Yep.
But yeah, we'd love to work with you if you're in digital transformation, and we have a vertically integrated company that does both infrastructure and digital stuff that you need to have someone understand the whole scope and breadth. We'd love to help you.
Awesome. Awesome. That's awesome. And Dusty, I appreciate everything today. Great conversation, great insight.
Absolutely.
It was cool. We kind of dug into some cool stuff, which I always love. I certainly don't like talking about the same thing all the time. That would be no fun at all. And I don't
No,
do
indeed.
things that aren't fun because I'm a
There
fun
you go.
person. See, I
That's
am a
right.
fun person.
Tell your kids that tonight.
That's right. Your dad is the funnest.
Exactly.
And they won't even respond. No, I'm just kidding.
They
But
will
no,
one
they're
day.
awesome. They get it. I told them you can thank me later.
Exactly.
That's the mantra in my house. You can thank me later. But why? You can thank me later. You know, you'll be 30, but you'll thank me then. I'll still be around. Don't worry about it. That's all good.
Exactly.
So
I thank my dad to this day.
that's it. Me too. Dusty, it's been awesome. Thank you so much again.
Thank you.
And for everyone else, we'll see you on the next STS podcast. Thanks for joining me on the Sharpen the Spear podcast. If you're a manufacturing executive and you're serious about unlocking hidden profit, improving frontline leadership, and taking control of your floor, go to grit2lead.com right now. Run the free Sharpened Impact Simulator and discover where your biggest opportunities are hiding. Don't leave millions on the table. Sharpen your spear, lead from the front, and win the floor. Until next time, stay sharp.